Hello everyone, George here, Catholic Positive Energy. Nice to see everyone. I wish that I could have broadcasted earlier today, but I was not able to. This is my final week of this wonderful course that I've been in. It's a 12-week course called History of Biblical Interpretation. And it's been absolutely wonderful. I've obviously had to put a lot of hard work, time, and dedication into it. So like I say, because of my busy schedule, please forgive me if I have to make certain adjustments to the normal broadcasts on Wednesday mornings. So I'm here Wednesday night. I told you on the Facebook page I was going to be here, so I'm here. So yeah, definitely always want to be a man of my word and do what I say I'm going to do. So, yes. But I was trying to think of a wonderful topic to talk about this week. So, the name of this broadcast is Knowing That Something is Good Right Around the Corner. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, I've talked about this a little bit in previous videos. I know that I've said this. I can't remember exactly which broadcast where I specifically said this. But I'm going to talk more in length today about this. Now, normally I don't do this, but I know I mentioned this about maybe a year ago or so. Usually I don't talk about my personal life much here. I'll just do a little bit of that right now. Now, until a year ago, I was in a 12-year relationship with a wonderful woman. I won't mention names, I'll just leave it at that. I was hoping that we'd get married, but she wanted different things. But we eventually parted ways after 12 years, and I will admit that that was a very painful thing for both of us. And I didn't want things to turn out that way. I was hoping I was going to marry her, but I definitely wish her the best. I'm not going to say anything that would look like I'm bad-mouthing her. I'm not going to do that. Even if the camera wasn't on right now, and this is something I do even when, if I'm talking to some very dear friends of mine who care about me, I'm not going to bad-mouth her to anybody, not even to my best friends. I'm not going to do that. I don't do that. I wish her the best. She is a good person, and that's what I have to say. But I'll admit, I was very devastated, and maybe a little bit now, maybe not as much, but I remember, now this is something that I'm sure everybody here is very familiar with, and I'm sure you've gone through something like this, or maybe you're going through something similar to this right now. I'm not even going to ask, because I'm sure that everybody's going to say yes, at least as long as all of you are adults. If I have any teenagers or anybody, teenager or younger, who watches my broadcast, please let me know. I'm just curious, but as far as I know, it's all adults. I'm sure that there's been times in your life when you suffered something in your personal life and you were very devastated. And you probably were really messed up for a little while. Maybe you might still be now. And I remember I've had several very dear friends of mine tell me, you know, George, I understand how you feel. I know you don't like what you're going through right now, but just remember, something good is right around the corner. I've had different friends tell me this in like 10 different ways, using different words. You know, George, maybe this happened for a reason. Maybe this was meant to happen because something better in your life is bound to happen, and you're not there yet. Sorry. You haven't arrived at your destination yet. It's just right around the corner. Something good is about to happen in your life, but you haven't reached that corner. You haven't walked around that corner. It hasn't happened yet. You're not there yet. It's about to happen, but you haven't arrived there yet. But you will. But remember, it happens in God's time, not in your time. Now, I know, and I will admit that I feel this way a lot. Well, I want it to happen right now. I want it right now, you know? But it happens when it happens. So like I say, I'm sure there have been times in your life, may not even be in your personal life, maybe in your professional life or in some other part of your life where something really, really awful and devastating happened to you and you fell apart and you were very devastated. But then eventually, maybe years later, or probably even days or weeks later or months later, something good happens and then you completely forget about this bad, devastating thing that happened. You know, something good is about to happen, but it's right around the corner and you haven't reached that corner yet. That's the point of this broadcast. Now, I have met some people who are devastated all the time. Some who suffer a lot of bad things, and then eventually when they get older, it's like they have a chip on their shoulder. They have a bad attitude, they're a little jaded, and they carry it around with them, and they're just always so bitter. Now, obviously, I like to make sure, one of the reasons I started this community is I want to help people so they don't feel that way. Okay? I don't want people to feel that way. I know that sometimes life will hit us in the face with a lot of bad things, bad news, and after a while it becomes very overwhelming and devastating, and then you may not be as happy-go-lucky as I try to be, or like Mr. Rogers was during his lifetime. That's where we want to be. We want to be happy and positive. We don't want to be carrying around some personal baggage in our lives because of some really, really bad things that happened to us. Maybe they were traumatizing. Maybe they were overwhelming. This happens to everybody, okay? I want everybody to know this. And you may not always think about this because when it's happening to you, you focus on you and you don't think about the entire picture. This happens to everybody. So if you think that nobody's going to understand you or that you've got it worse than anybody else around you, no, you don't. Okay? You're not alone. You're not alone. Just because you've been through a lot of bad things and you see a bunch of people around you who may look like they're happy and look like their lives are perfect. I know I've said this before. That doesn't mean that their lives are perfect. I'll admit, I'll never forget, there was this a friend of mine who I knew several years ago. He was my age, and he got married at a very young age to a very beautiful woman. And I would often say to him, because, we were very close friends, I would say, you're really lucky. Because, she's a very beautiful woman. And, there's a lot of guys who I know who would love to have a special person like that in their lives. And the fact that you do, you are very lucky. We wish that we could have something like that in our lives. And my friend would often tell me, well, I appreciate your kind words, but I mean, just because I look like my life is perfect doesn't mean that it is. And I never really fully thought about that. I mean, yeah, you might have a friend who is very lucky, and they might be married to somebody who seems like an amazing person, and you wish that you could have an amazing person like that in your life, but you don't yet. Now, be very careful about this comparison mindset. I've noticed a lot, and I'm just now learning this. When you compare yourself to other people, or you compare other people to other people, that isn't really a good thing. I still tend to do this a lot, and I've noticed that when I do that, people around me don't really like it when I do that, and I'm just now starting to very slowly understand that when you do that, especially when you're doing it out loud and you're saying these thoughts to people, they're not going to be very well received. So just be careful when you're comparing people to other people or comparing yourself to other people. Not always good. And it won't come across as being positive either. So be careful about that. It's not always good to say your thoughts out loud, especially when your thoughts are not always good. So yeah. But just because you see somebody whose life may seem like their life is filled with happiness doesn't mean that it always is. Everybody has their own share of problems, and I've noticed that a lot. There are a lot of people out there in the world who, well, yeah, they might have problems, but they never say them out loud. They don't want other people to know about them. They don't want everybody around them to know that they're suffering or that they're unhappy. They try to hide it. A lot of times I hide it. But like I say, I believe after, having some healing time and talking with some very wonderful friends of mine, I believe that something good is right around the corner in my life, and I'm just not there yet. I haven't walked around that corner yet. And I promise, once I do walk around that corner, I'll definitely let all of you know. And I'll try to remember this. I'll remember the video I did, Catholic Positive Energy, number 124, knowing that something good is around the corner. When I eventually reach that corner, I'm going to make a reference back to this broadcast, and I'll say, hey, you remember that broadcast where I talked a while back about something good is bound to happen in your life and you just haven't reached that corner yet? Well, I finally reached it, I can't wait until, the day when I eventually do. I can't wait to make a reference back to this broadcast right here. Definitely. I'll be glad to do that. But like I say, time heals all wounds. Sometimes it could take a year. Sometimes if you suffered a traumatic event, it could take several years. I have a very dear friend who has suffered their fair share of traumas, and they eventually had to seek out what's called a trauma doctor. And I didn't even know those exist. Usually you might think psychiatrists or psychologists. There are trauma doctors out there. I never even heard of that term before. But there are people out there who are much more equipped to deal with certain people's situations than others. But I'm not saying that I need a trauma doctor, but my dear friend did. And they have found so much healing and peace in their lives because of that. And they knew at some point that they would reach that corner of healing and happiness and peace, and they found it. Took them several years, but they found it. And I know that I'll find it. Even though I may not have everything in my life that I want right now, I will say that things are looking up. I know that our Lord Jesus Christ loves me and each and every one of you. And I know life, even though you may not, for those of you who might be going through some kind of difficult moments, you might not agree with me when I say this right now, but I want you to please listen, okay? Here's one thing I want you to know. I'm sure that there are communities out there where they try to promote happiness and positive energy. Here's one thing that I want you to know about me that I may not have made clear. It doesn't bother me if people watch my broadcast and they don't agree with what I'm saying. Anybody here is free to disagree with me. That's totally fine with me. You can disagree with me. I just hope that you don't argue with me and don't be rude to me. But you can disagree. But life is too good. Now, if your life is not in a good place right now, you might not agree with that, but just listen to me, please. Hear me out. Life is too good. Life can be filled with a lot of good things. And, you could start small. Like, let's say your life isn't going that great. Well, try to eat some of your favorite foods. That's something that could make you happy, maybe, to a certain degree. Eat some of your favorite foods. Spend time with some wonderful people in your life who you love and cherish, who also love and cherish you. Other things like maybe go bowling. That's something I really love to do. And I was recently on a bowling league this past summer for 3 months, and I loved it. And one of the things that I loved was, you see, now this is something that's common in bowling alleys. You'll often hear music, and I really love the... I can't remember the name of the song off the top of my head, but this one always gives me a lot of energy, especially if I'm bowling. I think it's called Blinding Lights or something in the light. I'll just hum the melody. I'm sure, yeah, you know the song I'm thinking. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but I love that song. And if I'm ever bowling, that thing really, it gives me a lot of, peace and relaxation and positive energy when I'm bowling. And especially if it's really hot outside. Like I said, this was during the summer. I remember the air conditioner was just blasting. It was freezing cold in the bowling alley, and I just loved it because it was like 95 outside. So yeah, that music plus a really powerful air conditioner during the summertime really just, oh my gosh, I feel like that certainly helped me in a lot of ways. Even though they may seem like small insignificant things, they helped me a lot inside. Not just because it cooled me off in the heat, but it was a good sense of little building blocks of positive energy to get me to a really happy, wonderful place. And that's where I want to be. And that's where I want all of you to be. I know, and I'm obviously not going to name names, I know some people in this community who have been through their fair share of negative experiences, more than they like to count. And trust me, I'm there too. Just because I named this community Catholic Positive Energy, I want everybody here to understand something. I've been through a lot of negative things throughout my life, not by choice. These things just happen. And I know a lot about negative energy. I really do. And that's why I use this channel as a way to try to help people understand that. And I try to obviously do the opposite of the things that I already know and look at things from a different point of view. I recently had another close friend of mine telling me that they want to try to help me, teach me to learn how to look even at the worst possible situations from a different point of view. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'll admit I'm not an expert on that yet. I'm just now starting to do that. But this is something I thought I'd share with all of you. When a bad situation happens in your life, try to look at it from a different point of view. Don't always look at it as the worst possible, most terrible thing. You may not look at it as a good thing, but don't look at it in a sense of hurt, anger, sadness. Try to look at it from a different angle where you're not angry or devastated or falling apart. But the whole purpose of this broadcast, and like I say, I'm just winging it, knowing that something good is right around the corner. You may not have reached that corner yet, but once you do, you'll know when it happens. You will know when it happens, because this is something only you can know. Everybody's individual lives are different. This is something only you can know, and you will know when it happens. Now, that concludes what I'm saying here. Just some brief announcements before I sign off. I'm going to be in Las Vegas next week on a vacation. I'm going to be going with my parents, going to go visit some family members. Now, you remember when I had a broadcast last December when I was in Las Vegas, I did a broadcast from my hotel room. Now, I may not be able to bring the waterfall. I'll try. I'll see what I can do. I just don't want to risk losing this or this being damaged. So I'll try to bring it. And more than likely, I'll be broadcasting from my hotel room because I don't want to be in a noisy place. Although I will probably post some short videos on the Facebook page and the Facebook group of, some fun places in Las Vegas that will hopefully bring some positive energy into your lives. And, I know some people look at Las Vegas as Sin City. Well, like I say, when I'm there, normally I'm with my family. I'll probably, play blackjack. I know when to walk away, trust me. Maybe I might play some slot machines. I certainly don't like to lose, but I also like to have some fun. I don't really go to the casino much. Like to eat some good food. I'm also going to see David Copperfield's show next Tuesday. I'm going to be in the front row. I've seen his show once before, back in 2016, and it was amazing. I can't wait to see it again and be in the front row. This is going to be amazing. He has an amazing show. So I'll definitely have a lot to talk about next week from Las Vegas, Nevada, during my vacation. So I certainly hope all of you appreciate me, the fact that I still come to you even when I'm on vacation, because even though I may be on vacation, I never take a vacation from Catholic Positive Energy. This is something I'm very passionate about and committed to, and something I love very much. I love being here with all of you, making these videos, and sharing the things that I share on the Facebook page and the Facebook group, because I want to bring Catholic positive energy into your lives. Amen? Amen. So until next week, during my vacation, I'll see you then. God bless you. And once again, remember, dignification is better than criticism.